When you're on a train, what does it actually take to keep it all moving safely? It's so much more than just tracks and signals. There's this vast, invisible network working behind the scenes. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the science being used to protect our railways from a whole new world of threats, making them safer and more resilient than ever before. So here's where we're headed. We'll kick things off with the surprising complexity of the whole rail ecosystem. Then we'll dive into how experts are modeling disruptions, simulating how we humans actually behave, and even mapping out cyber threats. The goal here? To really understand what it's going to take to build a truly tough railway system for the future. Let's get into it. Okay, first things first, we need to kind of reframe how we think about our railways. They aren't just a way to get from point A to point B. They are a absolutely critical piece of our national infrastructure, a really complex engine that's driving our society and our economy. It is so easy to see a train on a track and think, yeah, that's pretty simple. But the reality? Oh, it's a deeply interconnected web of technology, logistics, and people. Its complexity is it's way greater than most of us ever realize. And this image right here, it really captures that deep interconnectivity perfectly. Research by Patrapon Kongzap and Sakurat Kaewanruin shows just how concepts like service, cost, and even the agents, that's us, the people, are all fundamentally linked together. This isn't just some abstract diagram. Think of it as a warning that a failure in one tiny area can send massive shockwaves through the entire network. So we've got this incredibly complex system, right? Well, that leads us straight to the core problem. That complexity, in and of itself, can create some serious vulnerabilities. So let's take a look at how this whole system can get disrupted. And these disruptions, well, they can come from just about anywhere. As Kongsap and Kay Winruin point out, you've got threats ranging from the physical and obvious, like a broken rail, to the digital and totally hidden, like a cyber attack on the control systems. The really scary part? Both of them can cripple the network just as effectively. And this quote, it really gets to the heart of the whole issue. The very thing that makes rails so powerful and efficient, its huge, interconnected network, is also its biggest weakness. Every new link you add, well, that's a potential new point of failure. All right, so to solve this big vulnerability puzzle, we have to understand the system's most unpredictable part, us, people. And this is where a really powerful simulation tool called agent-based modeling comes into play. So instead of looking at the rail system from this, high-level top-down view, ABMs, as explained by Kongsap and K1Ruin, they flip the script. They work from the bottom up. They basically create a virtual world, and then they fill it with thousands of individual agents, passengers, drivers, even train cars, each with its own set of rules, just to see what collective patterns bubble up from all their interactions. This density map here really shows you the power of this whole approach. Right there at the hot, red center of all the research focus is the model agent. It just goes to show how critical it is to understand individual behaviors, from a passenger to a crew member, if you want to predict the health of the entire system, especially when a crisis hits. Okay, now we're going to peel back another layer. We're moving from the human element to the high-tech threats that are targeting well, you could call it the digital nervous system that controls the physical railway. This right here is the critical link where the digital world smacks right into the real world. It's the place where a few lines of bad code could cause very real, very physical consequences, like, say, changing a track switch at the absolute worst time. So, to find the weak points, researchers like João Nunes, Tiago Cruz, and Paulo Simões have to meticulously map out these systems. See that little red devil icon? That's not just for show. That represents what's called a man-in-the-middle tool. It shows exactly how an attacker could secretly sit on the network, intercepting and changing commands to cause total chaos. So how in the world do you defend against these digital threats? Well, experts use this really proactive approach, kind of based on this cyber kill chain. First, as you see here, they create a perfect digital twin of the live network. Then, inside this safe little sandbox, they basically become the hackers. They systematically poke and prod for vulnerabilities, and then they test the fixes, all before a real attacker ever gets a chance. So how do we build true resilience? I mean, it's not just about stopping attacks. It's about making the whole system operate with such incredible efficiency that it just becomes stronger and more flexible by its very nature. A really fascinating solution comes from research by Bruzone and his colleagues. They propose this kind of radical idea. What if we integrated passenger and freight transport? As this diagram shows, freight could arrive at a passenger terminal, get loaded into any spare capacity, share the ride, and then just get dropped off at a hub for its final delivery. And hey, this is not just some theory. They ran a simulation based on real-world data from the boat transit system in Venice, and it showed that this integrated approach has a massive real-world impact. The results were, honestly, they were pretty astounding.
First off, they found a 22% reduction in the total distance traveled by all the vehicles in the system.
On top of that, a 16% reduction in the total energy used across the entire network. And get this, a 15% reduction in the external costs from air pollution. This is what building resilience through sheer efficiency looks like. It's smarter, it's cheaper, and it's a whole lot greener. So, what does this all mean for the future? It means that safe, reliable, and efficient rail travel is going to depend entirely on this kind of holistic, model-driven way of understanding the whole system. We've basically seen the path to resilience, right? It requires seeing the system as the complex network it is, modeling our own human behavior, locking down those cyber-physical links, and integrating operations to get the most efficiency. It's really about viewing the entire system as one complete living organism. And this leaves us with the big, grand challenge you see here. As we add more technology, more sensors, more connectivity, we face a choice. We can either create a system that's more fragile with more points of failure, or we can leverage all this new tech to build a rail network that is fundamentally smarter, safer, and more secure for every single one of us.